Hey, what's up brothers, Viper and Instinct here at the 50-meter range today for another comparison video.
This time we'll test the maximum effective range and the precision of both an AEG and a GBBR. But before we dive into that, make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell button to stay notified of our weekly content. Also make sure to visit ReconBrothers.com for our quality monthly giveaways and have a look at shop.ReconBrothers.com for your quality tactical needs.
So as for today we have both an AEG and a GBBR ready to test with. Now what is an AEG? Well, an AEG is an automatic electric gun, which means that it is powered by a battery, and in this case the battery is positioned inside the buttstock, and as for today we will be using the batteries from Titan Power as well. Now the battery powers a motor which sits inside the grip. Motor winds some gears inside the gearbox. Gears move a piston that creates airflow for the BB to travel along the barrel, and with this gun, which is an NGRS or next gen recoil shock, which means that the gearbox is slightly tweaked to offer recoil as well, which is not as strong, and above that the magazines also have some tweaks on them to offer a bolt catch as well. So as for our second gun, we have a GBBR. Now a GBBR stands for a gas blowback rifle, which means that it isn't powered by a battery but by gas, which is stored inside the magazine. Now as for today we will be using the Nimrod green gas for this type of gun, just so you know. So what happens when you pull that trigger? Well, a small amount of gas is released from the magazine, which creates an airflow in both the barrel direction as well in the bolt direction. Now that means for the barrel the BB can travel along it, and for the bolt this will actually create a truly functioning bolt as with a real steel rifle. So that means a functioning bolt with recoil comparable to a real gun, and also a bolt catch as with a real gun as well. So why have we chosen these two guns in particular? Well, the fact is we as scientists like to eliminate as much variables as possible, and for that we have chosen two guns built by the same manufacturer. Now that means they have about the same price tag, they have the same build quality, they have the same hop-up system, they have the same barrel length, and they also have about the same FPS, which we took care of by giving the AEG a small spring upgrade. And above that they also both offer recoil and a bolt catch, although there is a significant difference. Now let's go over to the details of our testing.
So let's talk a bit about the details of our testing. Well, also here we will be eliminating as much variables as possible. This means we have a stable platform with a weapon hold to make stable shots. Now unfortunately we couldn't get any fixed position to shoot from, so we'll be using the sniper hold to have a fixed position as much as possible. Now in addition to that we also will be using the same BBs for both guns, which are Green Devil BBs of 0.28 gram. In addition to that we also made sure that the height of which we are shooting and the height of our target is about the same, so we have a straight trajectory as much as possible. In addition to that, we again chose to do the shooting here at the range because it's surrounded by walls, which allows a minimum of airflow. Now let's take a look at the test itself. So let's explain the first test to you. Well, for our first test we want to measure the maximum effective range of both our guns we have here today. We'll be doing this by shooting at its construction, more specifically the steel target hang here, because it will clearly indicate whether we hit a target or not. Now we will be placing the target as far as we can, and we'll be moving it closer until we can hit it 5 times in a row. Now we have chosen to use a head-sized target because we don't want to make it too easy on these guns. For the distance measurement we will be using a rangefinder which we got from Airsoft Doctor, and if you don't have enough guns already, go check him out for more.
Let's do this.
So for the second test, we will be measuring the precision of both our guns at the worst effective range, which is 31 meters for the GBBR. Now we'll be doing this by shooting 10 times at this paper target. The BBs will easily penetrate the target, which will allow us to collect some data afterwards. Now we're doing this so we can compare one gun to another. Note that the magazines of a GBBR perform differently when they're on normal temperature or cold temperature. So we'll be doing this test as well with a cold magazine as with a magazine that's on normal temperature, so we can compare them to each other.
Man, this thing is loud. I wish I had my headsets with me. So let's go over to our studio for the results.
So, after checking out the results from our first test, we can clearly see that the AEG still has about 10% more effective range than the GBBR. Just to be clear, this means the farthest straight possible trajectory on which we can hit a head-sized target consistently. From the second test, we can clearly see why on average people claim that GBBRs are not as consistent or precise as AEGs are. Here the AEG has a spread that is 55% smaller than a GBBR when used with a magazine on normal temperature. Now you might say that these results look normal due to the difference in recoil power, but now comes the interesting part. When we did a test again with the GBBR system and the magazines cooled down due to usage, the spread became 71% better than with a warm magazine, which means it became 36% more precise than the AEG. We have to mention though that we had 3 missed shots below the target due to the system being too cold and either not getting enough pressure from the magazine or the hub was malfunctioning because of the low temperature. Since my brother Viper didn't notice any difference in recoil while taking the shots, we can conclude that the hub up is the factor to blame. So as for our conclusion, firstly, you better shoot with a GBBR when the system is cooled down, so it's recommended to shoot several magazines before using it in the game to get the system on temperature. Secondly, the myth that a GBBR is not precise or reliable is hereby busted. And thirdly, if you truly want realism and are a skill-based player, a GBBR is a very good training system which we highly recommend. If you want somewhat the features of a real gun but still want to be able to shoot a hell of a lot of BBs, you might want to go with the AEG, although you can still use the AEG in a professional way as well. To be clear, the GBBR gun is not for people who want to shoot tons of BBs and don't care about doing proper gun maintenance on a regular basis. So guys, thanks for watching, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the bell button. Go to ReconBrothers.com for our monthly quality giveaways. Visit shop.ReconBrothers for quality tactical products. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.